Here we go. Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Center for Leadership, the podcast where leadership begins at the center. You. I am Carrie Terhark, your host, and I believe that in order to lead others effectively, we must first learn to lead ourselves. And this segment I call Beyond the Title, which is where we have conversations to explore the raw, unscripted, behind the scenes stories of people discovering how to turn their passion into purpose. We're going to share some practices, insights, and tools that will help you stay centered, resilient, and ready to empower those in your care. Because leadership isn't just a role, it's a choice, and it starts with how we show up for ourselves. So let's dive in. I am super excited to welcome my friend Kristina onto our podcast to talk a little bit today. Welcome, Kristina.
Thank you so much, Carrie. I'm so excited to be here. It's so great.
Yes.
It's so great to catch up.
I know we were just catching up before we hit record. Christy and I met 3.5, 4 years ago, maybe,
Yeah.
and just I think we just connected on an energy space. I just always loved the positive, authentic energy that you show up with, and we've both had some struggles maybe that have led us into different ways in our leadership and just in our life, our personal life, lessons learned along the way. So I'm excited to share a little bit about that today. But before we get started, the first question is the same for everyone, which is what lights your fire?
Watching others reach their goals and knowing that I helped them get there.
I love that. I love that. As you think about leadership, because this is kind of what this podcast is about, when you hear leadership, what does that mean for you?
Um, Leadership is, anybody can be a leader. You don't have to be a boss per
Yeah.
se to be a leader. Leadership is about setting an example and showing up in every way, your best self, all this, as best as you can. And there are going to be days where you struggle and you're going to have off days, and showing up anyway and sharing that energy and that passion with the people around you is what makes you a good leader.
Yeah. I'm thinking about as we've both had jobs that we've come in and out of through our life. As you look back, what were some pivotal moments that you thought about this maybe was reflecting back now to say maybe this was really bad leadership or maybe this was the one leadership aspect that I remember and I hold on to. What maybe in your past kind of helped you guide in that situation or through that?
I think becoming emotionally aware.
Hmm.
Um, I used to really, I would let my emotions get the best of me, and it would make me short-tempered, and it would make me, I would snap at my, at my coworkers, or my assistant, or whatever. I would get short, and it was an emotion. And this being a leader isn't about emotion. It's about having passion and being able to channel that into positive production and effectively, changing the things around you and doing something. It's not necessarily about, oh, well, my feelings got hurt. Well, yeah, they did, but that doesn't mean that you get to react just instantly. Just so I think that was a big thing. And I've had leaders that would point that out, that I had an amazing, I still have that amazing person who leads me every day, that, if I'm having a moment, she'll pull me aside and be like, hey, come in here, do some jumping jacks, put a smile on your face. Nope, that's not a real smile. Shake it out. And, you know, you got to change your tone because you're coming off, the wrong way. And so having that awareness and being able to then coach that awareness to others, I think
Yeah.
was a big thing. Learning how to coach that.
That is something that I also have really spent a lot of time on. And I've worked with a coach off and on, and I'm back working with a coach again for that reason that I have some different shifts and different things in my business that are coming up that are going to require me to kind of put my head down and really get to work and stick to what I really envision. And I know that it's going to be hard, and I know I'm going to be challenged in a lot of ways, and I love to be challenged. But I also know that sometimes when I'm being challenged or I'm being challenged and there's a lot of other work and different things coming in that I just want to get things done. So sometimes I can go too fast or I can shortcut things just to say that they're done. And when I'm in that space and there's a lot of things coming at me, I also am not always paying attention to those emotions. And I'm an emotion driven person. So I work where I'm inspired. I can see my emotions taking over. And it is so important, as you say, like emotions are real. And we don't need to make decisions based on what we're feeling in that moment, or we don't have to react in that space. And so having some of those practices is super, super helpful. I love that you have somebody who you trust who can pull you aside and say, let's take a breath, or let's do those jumping jacks, or recognizing the behaviors in that. And I think in the workplace we're missing that. And I think especially women especially to women, that somehow it's become very competitive rather than it being very supportive. So just as you think about some of that supportiveness, where else maybe has that shown up for you, or how does that play into some of the leadership stuff that you do?
I also, well, so I'm very close to my pastor.
Yes.
Um, him and his wife are like my family. And quite often after church on Sundays, he and I will sit out on the back patio after service and just talk. And it's really surrounding myself with people, with leaders and people that understand compassion has made a big difference in really, okay, how do I want to show up? And it's true, like you are who you surround yourself with. You become who you surround yourself with. If you're constantly surrounding yourself with people that put you down or start to dampen you, then you don't have that, hey, I'm just trying to grow support that
Yeah.
that we all need, even as leaders, because leaders have to grow too.
Yeah. I I know I've recognized that in myself just in some of the reflection that I've done. When I have something that's new, have something that's coming and I'm a little unsure about it, but I have this idea. I don't have all the pieces put together. There are certain people I share that with and certain people that I don't,
Yes.
because I'm unsure myself, and I need to have the support rally around me and somebody to say, okay, I like where you're going with this. Let's think through this, or let's add this, or have you thought about this, rather than somebody giving me the questions in the third degree and then being flustered and then being like, well, this is a really bad idea, because I can talk myself out of things very easily.
I think, yeah. I can talk myself in and out of things
Yes.
very quickly.
And sometimes in the same sentence.
Yes. I think
Yes,
I've done
but
that
I think
multiple
that
times.
support, and I love that that you coach in that way, because I think for me that's the person that I want to be. I want to others. I want when somebody has an idea, or somebody is feeling a certain way and they just want to be real and authentic. I want to be that person that they can come to and say, I'm sharing this with Carrie because I know she's going to be supportive, rather than I'm sharing this with Carrie and I don't know I don't know how she's gonna react. I don't want to be that person.
Right.
Uh, I want to be honest with people, but sometimes people aren't always ready for that honesty. And I think that's something that I've realized in myself sometimes, that I'm not to the point for honesty yet. I'm a little uncertain, and I need a big hug.
I need the hug, but I have quickly learned that I have some friends that do rely on me for that honesty. And they don't always like what I have to say, and
Yeah.
I'm not always gentle about it. Um, I think that's just part of who I am. I never say anything maliciously. I'm not trying to hurt anybody, but I'll tell you like it is.
Yeah.
I'll be like, "Eh, do you really want to do that? Because this is, let's look at the logic behind it."
Yes.
And I've had to learn to do that. It's not something I've done for my whole life. It's something I very much had to learn.
I think for me too, I've learned to not have the look on my face or to, what the hell are you
Oh
talking
no, the look
about?
is still on
Kind
my
of.
face.
But to ask questions, just to ask questions, to have people ask questions of clarity, or to say, yeah, what might be some consequences of doing that, or what is it really, really hoping to do with that, so that others can help think through what's really going on. And I'm an Aries. I don't know,
Oh
zodiac
yeah.
stuff. So I can be fire. I can just, it can come out of my mouth before I've completely thought about it. And then later I'm like, yeah, that was probably pretty harsh. I didn't realize how.
Yeah, I'm kind of a textbook Sagittarius.
Okay, yeah, definitely,
There's just,
definitely.
it is what it is.
And I think awareness, self-awareness in that, and as we both had talked about in leadership, that it really starts here. It starts with knowing I know my flaws. Like I know. And I'm not perfect either. And
No,
being able to recognize when I've maybe been too real, too direct. I'm also I'm a verbal person. So if I'm emailing or texting, I'm not giving you the whole story. I've learned I leave out a lot of information, which sometimes can be misunderstood. And I need to learn to slow down and meet people where they are, or give people the information that they need rather than what's easiest for me. It's been a big thing.
I think sometimes I over-explain.
Mm.
I give them more information than they need, and they're like, Why?" Well, because I thought you should know all of the things. You
So starting back in 1984.
Right. Back in the 70s, it was really like this.
Yes, yes. As you think about the teams that you work with, what are some things that you're noticing shift in leadership? I've been having this conversation with a lot of different people as we're doing strategic planning, and there just seems to be there's so much that has happened. We have several generations working together. We've now are in this hybrid place, and it just feels like everything in business has shifted a little bit. So what are some trends and things that you're noticing?
Oh, it has. Well, that's something I deal with every day,
Yeah.
right? So I have people that have teams that are completely hybrid. I have teams that are completely remote. I have people with teams that are all in-house. And so I see a lot more, it has to be a team mentality versus a boss employee mentality. So I really stress the mentorship piece, which is something I'm very fortunate to be able to do that in my job because that's something that my company really promotes is mentorship. Um, but really creating space and helping people create space even when they're not in the same office, right? Like, hey, you don't have to be same in the same physical office. Let's get you a digital office where you can all be together and talk to each other. Um,
Yeah.
so you still have that space where you can create that team feeling. And, if your teammate has an answer and the boss is, or, the employer is busy, that's okay. Your teammate can answer. And just helping people to with the technology piece and creating that environment where it's okay to be a team and to treat each other as equals, but with this respect. Maybe not equals, but with the same amount of respect. You know, and I've seen employers that very much have that I am the boss. You will do what I say. And then they struggle. They struggle with retention. They struggle with hiring. They struggle with, I see their businesses start to decline. Then I see people, employers that are bringing in staff members and making them a part of the everyday. And hey, you know what? I need these reports run today. Let me teach you how to do that. That is, those teams thrive. They grow. People stay. Um, and they, and in the mentorship program, they learn all of those things and then they go off and start their own agencies and then they're able to work together and still call that same employer and be like, hey, I'm your equal now, but I have a question.
Yeah.
And they build those, those collaborative relationships. So that's something that I really see as a strength that's happening is people are becoming more collaborative and they're really working more as a team versus boss employee.
I see that as well. And it's so exciting for me because that's the work that I do. They teach people how to work together and how to create that collaborative environments. But at the same time, it's how I best work. And I again, I think we're now being forced into it because of all the other ways that we have. But as you said, it is more productive. And I think one of the things that I've also noticed is as I'm doing a lot of strategic planning, one of the things that continues to come up is we need a succession plan. We need a succession plan. And we have people who are leaving organizations who have been in a position for 20, 30 years who have all this institutional knowledge, and there is no one in the organization that knows what they do. There is no day to day. There is nothing like, hey, can you go run that report? And I think shifting organizations into a space that is that collaborative time, and this is just how we work together, makes that succession plan so much easier. Because as you said, we're teaching people how to promote up. We're teaching people how to go out and do the things on their own in their own business. And so it is a natural succession that is always happening because the people who are coming in to replace the folks that are leaving are not going to be in that job for 25 to 30 years. They're not.
No.
And as an organization, if we want to keep that structure, we're always going to be behind and you're going to lose money because it's never going to be an easy transition if only one person knows what's really going on.
Yep. And that's how you create a job hopper.
Yeah,
It is. And then people that job hop are not happy people.
no, no,
They want to be heard. They want to be taught, right?
yes.
They want somebody to actually care and to have somebody believe in them and
Yes.
help them grow. And that's something that I mean, I see it all the time and it's so sad because when you see that person, you see these people that do have that person and you see them grow and you see them developing and they're excited and they're passionate and they want to do it forever because they know there's always a path for growth.
Yes. Yes.
People
And I
by
think
nature want to learn.
absolutely, absolutely. And I think part of that is we talk about that leadership starting with here. Part of it is healing some of those inside fears of, I'm afraid that if somebody knows what I do, they're going to take my job.
Huh?
And so we hoard and keep this stuff to ourselves, making our jobs and everybody else's jobs harder rather than empowering everybody and saying, let's win when we all win, when we're able to kind of step in and out. And I think that's also the mentorship that you talked about. I'm seeing also that mentorship going both ways. So the Gen Zers coming into an organization and being like, whoa, there's so many better, efficient ways that you could be doing this. We could put some systems in place that are really going to help this and free up some time and being able to kind of mentor back and forth that way. And again, gives people a purpose and a place to say, I contributed to the overall organization and people appreciate the work that I've done, just helps people want to stay and grow in that space.
Absolutely. It's funny because I'm a Gen Xer.
Me
So
too. Me too. A proud Gen Xer,
yeah,
but we
yes,
got some issues.
we do. But you know, I got into doing TikToks because of younger people, right? They were like, "Oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that." So we started doing them, but I do them for work, right?
Yes.
Like it's not even for my own personal thing. We do them in the office, and we have so much fun, and it creates an environment where people want to be and they feel included. And I'm like, "Hey, do you have any ideas?" I can't come up with all the ideas on my own, and it's been a very interesting journey since we first met when I was in
Yes.
marketing.
Yes. Yes.
That was my thing. And
Yes.
now just the transition has been completely different. Um, but I couldn't have done it without listening to, younger people and people that were in different positions, and you have to learn from each other.
I think something that you were just talking about too, and when you create something together like that, so you're in a space where you're creating videos or you're doing something together, you're creating together, you're learning together, you're growing together. And I think people always talk about there's no accountability here. But if you're doing those things, accountability is the result of that. It's a result of that shared outcome to say, we've been on this journey together, and I don't want to let anybody down because I've been part of it. I've been part of it. I see myself in the work that we're doing, and I want to live up to my own expectation along with everybody else's. I think accountability happens when I have a vision and I've created something for myself, and I don't understand why you're not doing it. And then when you haven't bought into it because you're not part of it, then I'm like, well, there's no accountability. Well, why do I
Right.
care? That's yours. That's not ours.
Well, and you hold each other accountable the whole time.
Yes.
Like that's the thing about working on it together and doing those things together is, I mean, I've got a I've got a person that helps me with, a couple of the things that I do in licensing because I help people get licensed, and she helps a lot with my licensing piece. She doesn't even live here. Like I've never met her in person, but we are constantly communicating, and she without that piece, like, and that was a big thing for me. That was a really hard thing for me to let go of.
Yes.
I was very protective of it, and I tried to give it to a few people before, and it just was not good. Um, but finally finding that person where I could trust and that I knew she was, I showed her how to do it, and she communicates, and sometimes she has better ideas than I do. And I think it's fantastic. Um, because we do it together. And it's
And
not
the
about
fact that she can come to you and say, "Hey, I have a better idea," or I have not even a better idea, but I have an idea, and I want to share it with you. I want to hear what you think, and just creating that trust where somebody can come and say, "Hey," or maybe it's not even all the way thought through, but what if we started to do this? I know that like that just gets me excited when I can sit down with somebody and think through something and problem solve or create a facilitated session or a meeting or whatever it is. I'm so jazzed at the end of that because I was engaged in that process and I saw it come together, and it might not even be for me. It might be for somebody else, but because I was part of that, it's a cool experience to have together.
absolutely, absolutely. Well, and I think you know what, this is going to be stereotypical, but whatever. Uh, as a woman, I feel like I have been making the decisions m my whole life, right?
Yes.
What am I going to make for dinner? How am I going to, what am I going to do about the kids for this? What am I going to, how am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And I have to make those decisions on my own. And having somebody else that helps with that in my professional life is fantastic
Yes.
because I don't feel that constant pressure on my own all the time.
We can do a whole nother podcast on this. Um, but I think that's so true. And I think I've had some conversations with people and I've been reflecting on just women in leadership, women in positions of power, and just women in the workplace in general. And the amount of burnout that happens. We have all of these places where we have self-care and retreats and all of this stuff because we're not preventing burnout for exactly what you said, that there is this, we have taken on all of this stuff and feel like I have to, if I'm going to be a woman in the workplace, I have to be able to do this by myself. And when I think about when women came into the workplace, rather than we didn't really have a model of what it looked like to be a mom and a full-time career woman. We only had what men were doing.
Right.
And what men were doing is not what women are doing.
No.
And so I think we went through this whole like cycle and generation of women trying to figure out how to make it work. And I think we're now to this place where we're seeing a little bit more balance. And I think that's what I'm loving in some of the younger generations. We want to have an identity outside of the work that we have because who we are is so much more important than that. And when you can bring your whole self into work, it makes everything flow. And I think as women giving up some of that control, which is super, super hard to do.
It is so
Super hard to
hard,
do.
but it's so freeing.
It's so freeing. So
It's
freeing.
like it's the ox, right? Like the oxen with the yoke. And there's a
Yeah.
reason there's two oxen with that yoke because sharing that weight and sharing that burden, it's like a big breath of fresh air. And
Yes.
I work in an office that is primarily women. Um,
Yeah.
and it's crazy because it was, because you'd never think that I mean, I never thought I would work in an office full of women. Um, and our age ranges are 20s to almost 50s.
Yes. Yes.
And we have so much fun and we get along so well and we collaborate and it's like it feels like a powerhouse when you walk in there.
And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, but
Yeah.
I I see that success happen with organizations, not because all of those women or all of the people in your organization have the same personality,
No,
but it's all because you've created this environment where it's safe to be who you are. And that we'll figure out a way to work together and that the what you bring, what strengths you bring as a person are needed here. And we need you to step into that space.
absolutely. And that's actually something I learned from you.
Oh,
Was, talk about your strengths and weaknesses together as a group,
yeah.
like have the conversations. Hey, I am, like, hey, I'm super type A personality. Everything has to be just so. I am not a type A personality.
No,
I am like a Z personality,
I'm a
right?
personality.
Like I can look like total chaos and know exactly where everything is
Mm,
and have everything organized in my head, but it does not look like that around me. And then there's other times where everything's completely organized around me and it's a mess in my head.
right.
It's just the way I am, right? But being able to have those conversations and, hey, this is my weakness, this is my strength, this is where I do really well. I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
And finding those matches and those people that balance that, where, hey, you're really good at this, I'm really good at this. Let's work together so that you can focus on your strengths, I can focus on mine, and we're making up for each other's weaknesses. And
Yes.
that was something I learned from you, from
Yeah.
just coming to your seminars and listening to you and watching you over the last few years. I mean, that's something that I am incredibly grateful to you for because you helped me learn that a lot.
Yeah. It makes a difference. And when you're able to verbalize it and not be ashamed to be able to say, I'm also not in the details. So if I'm really focused on creating something and I have to be super hyper focused on it, you don't give me stuff to proofread. But for whatever reason, if I am doing that, you can't just throw squirrels at me and expect me just to pop back because I'm just so in and locked into what I'm doing. And I've learned to recognize how I'm feeling in that and to be able to say to other people, hey, just give me a minute. I need to process this. And because I am what we call a microwave thinker, right? Like something comes in my head and it comes out my mouth, like it's half baked. We don't ever know. But when I'm trying to be intentional and to pause and to reflect on something, it's sometimes it throws people off because they're like, why aren't you just saying anything? And I have to say, I want to make sure. I want to make sure I understand. I want to process this. I'm being very intentional, but sometimes it feels different because it's not. always the way that I show up. And so being able to know that in your group and to be able to communicate that. So it's like, okay, no, there's nothing wrong. We're just gonna give Carrie some space. She'll have it. She'll come back.
That's usually when my office door is closed.
Right? That's it. Let you know, like we got something stewing in here and I don't know what's gonna happen.
Like, give me 10, and then I will be able to conversate again.
Oh, 100%. 100%. So as you look at future self, what's next for you? What's your next challenge or yeah, what do you foresee for yourself in leadership in the future?
Yeah, so I am really excited because I am continuing to grow where I'm at, and I love where I'm at, and I love that I have the opportunity to grow from where I'm at. Um, I've grown from where I started 2 years ago in this, in this industry, and I am, I don't know that I want to go all the way to the top because I wouldn't be able to do what I am doing right now, and I am so passionate about what I'm doing now. But to do what I'm doing and then maybe transition into other areas of, hey, I can help in this way, I can help in this way, and still be able to help people grow and help them do the things. So I have that opportunity where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to continue to grow that way.
I love
And
that being passion led.
you know, I got my licenses, and I hadn't been in a classroom for more years than I'm going to say on this thing. But and now I was like, okay, well, at the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm gonna get my securities licenses. I don't have to do that for my job. That is not a requirement of my job. Um, but I'm studying. I've kind of procrastinating and studying at the same time because it's not been a top priority, but I'm doing it, right?
Yeah.
Um, because I can. And because
Yeah.
I have leaders that are excited about, hey, you want to do more? Absolutely, you can do more. That doesn't happen it doesn't happen very many places.
No,
It
no,
it
it doesn't.
just it's really sad that it doesn't, but it doesn't. It doesn't happen where people are like, "Oh, you want more? Sweet. Let's help you grow."
Yes.
So it's been I kind of feel like I'm in my perfect place for growth and to continue to grow, but I really love what I'm doing. I have a huge passion for it. So,
So what is the one value that you do not compromise on?
honesty.
Mm. What
Um
does that look like for you?
It's true that the truth hurts sometimes, right? Whether it's about myself, and being honest with myself is it's hard.
It's the hardest thing.
It's so hard because I don't want to, I don't want to look at myself and be like, "Okay, Christina,
Mhm.
get it together because you messed up." Nobody wants to do that. But if I don't, then I'm not being fair to myself. And my biggest pet peeve in this entire world is
Mm.
is hypocritical anything. If you're going to say it, do it. If you make a mistake, you make a mistake, but own it and move forward and do better next time. And I say that all the time to everyone. I'm like, do better. That's okay, but do better.
Yeah.
It
Everything that we do is a learning opportunity to do better. So we do better when we know better, right? It's
is. But if I'm not honest with myself and the people around me, then that is the number one thing.
absolutely, absolutely. So as we're wrapping up, because we have been talking for over 30 minutes already. What are some parting words or advice that you have for our listeners?
You have to be able to lead yourself before you can lead others. And you need to lead yourself with intention and with hope. Because if you don't have hope that, I mean, you're going to have fears, fear is part of life. But if you don't have that hope for something more, something good, then you can't be intentional about seeking that something. So intention and hope is how you lead.
Well, well, thank you for spending the time with us today and sharing your story, being vulnerable, being honest. And I wish you nothing but blessings in the future. And we are going to stay connected and see what's next.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me, Carrie. It's been great.
You bet.